In this video, we'll talk about using load static files versus using load static. So when do you use load static versus load static files? And what's the difference between them? So when you use load static files, what that does is it loads the static template tag. So notice that you can put static and then a link to your static file, right? If we look at the example with load static, it still imports the template tag static. So you can do the exact same thing. So what's the difference between load static and load static files? Well, let's take a look at this answer by Maxime Laurent. And just to let you know who he is right off the bat, so you know to trust what he's saying, he is on the Django documentation here of the issues trying to fix these template tags. So if we search for his name right here, we will find him. So he basically reassigned somebody to fixing this template tags issue. So he's not just some person giving an answer, he's actually a very knowledgeable person on this particular topic. So the takeaway is, if you were using Django 1.10, and actually let's go ahead and look at this. This is the Django version 1.10, Django.contrib.staticfiles release notes. So let's scroll to the top here. Okay, these are the release notes for Django 1.10. Here it says the static template tag now uses Django.contrib.staticfiles if it's in installed apps. What does that mean? That means if you have Django.contrib.staticfiles, then you can use the static template tag like this. So this is especially useful for third-party apps, which can now always use load static instead of load static files or load static from static files, and not worry about whether or not static files app is installed. So basically from version 1.10 and onward, you can just use load static at the top of your templates or wherever you want to put it. And that's pretty much exactly what he says right here. So from Django 1.10 onward to basically, I'll just tell you from 2.1, load static files has been deprecated. So it's no longer, you can't use that anymore. It's being deprecated in favor of load static. So basically Django 2.1 and forward use load static. And that's pretty much exactly what he says here. If you're using Django 1.10, some version in between these two, then you have the option to use static files, load static files, but there's really no point. Just use load static because that is the most preferred, convention going forward. So hopefully this tells you what the difference between load static and load static files is. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.